Attention, all Arkham Asylum staff and inmates. Our facility will be briefly undergoing lockdown procedures due to the escape attempt this evening by patient 30521, Harvey Dent, otherwise known as Two-Face. It is believed that Dent is still on the island but is quickly making his way to the shore. Please do not be alarmed, as our security team is currently being dispatched all across the island to keep you safe in this time of crisis. While we understand your concern, be assured that this protocol is in place to keep each and every one of you as safe as possible. In just a few moments, all power to the island will be shut down and rerouted to our emergency system. We apologize for the inconvenience, but we assure you that this procedure is completely safe and nothing can hurt you.
Greetings and salutations, all you lovely folks out there. My name is Penguin Power, and today I would like to talk about Batman. Besides being one of the greatest characters ever forged in the fires of DC Comics, he has also been the focus of 4 of the most iconic video games of all time. Yes, Arkham Asylum is included in this grouping. Today, with Arkham Asylum's 16th anniversary right around the corner, I aim to see if I can beat this 5-star superhero experience without taking any damage. This challenge has been done before by many people on YouTube. Creators like Gary the Prophet, Amino, and Nurbit have proven that this feat is in fact possible. However, I am not like the average gamer. In fact, I am quite terrible at these kinds of challenges in any game. For this reason, I am not simply asking if this kind of run is possible, but rather I am asking if I can beat this specific challenge. This is not the first time I have attempted this kind of run. In fact, when I attempted to record it the first time, my computer ran out of space after about 7 minutes of my 2-hour recording, so I had to reset and try again. The rules of this run are simple. If I take damage of any kind, whether it be by the environment, bullets, or the local population of mentally deranged clowns, I will have to reset to the nearest checkpoint. You will know when I take damage because Batman's health will appear on the screen with a chunk taken out of it. I decided to play this run on normal mode because I really did not want to play through this game without counter icons, since that would have made this run way harder than it already was. So, with all that out of the way, please sit back, relax, grab some buttery popcorn, and let me be your guide into this wonderful world of my own torture and suffering as I aim to answer the question, can I beat Batman Arkham Asylum without taking any damage? The game opens with Batman violating several traffic laws as he escorts the Joker to Arkham Asylum. Upon their arrival, we meet the Warden and engage in a 6-minute walking simulator as I take the time to try and figure out the video settings to make the game run smoother. Spoiler alert, there are none. The walking simulator continues and we meet with Gotham's local Florida man who threatens cannibalism and is promptly put in his place for it.
Percent Batman, I will hunt you down.
Get that animal under control!
One uneventful elevator ride later, and we meet up with good old Jim Gordon as Batman is denied further entry into the asylum due to his violent past. Surprising absolutely no one, Joker almost immediately escapes his handcuffs and starts his evening by killing 2 people. Batman dives through a window and we are officially brought into our first combat encounter. Seeing as this is simply the tutorial fight, I effortlessly lay the smackdown on these goons without getting hit once. After listening to Joker ramble on for a few seconds, I turn around and enter this grate to collect a Riddler trophy. Throughout the run, I'll be collecting whatever Riddler collectibles I come across as they'll help me gain XP to make fights easier down the road. When I come out, we are told to follow Joker's breadcrumbs. His trail has us wander through the asylum until we eventually meet with Victor Zsasz as he decides that one of the guards needed a visit to the electric chair. Batman simply uses the gargoyles to his advantage and proceeds to give Zsasz a grade 2 concussion. With Zsasz dealt with, we are then introduced to Harley Quinn, who claims that Batman is stuck. So naturally, Batman proves her wrong by moving on and traveling through the vents. His brief tenure as Ratman brings us to the decontamination room, where we save everyone hanging above the Joker gas, even this Joker goon who we let... Never mind then. After clearing the room of the gas, we continue to follow Joker's trail, which directly leads us into coming face to face with the product of mixing steroids and inbreeding for several generations. Welcome to the first Titan fight. The first Titan is not that hard at all. All it does is serve as a soft introduction to these kinds of enemies. So, after Batman rolls around for a bit, avoiding flying corpses and Titan charges, the idiot dies of a heart attack, and we talk to a guard about helping us move on through the facility. Joker then appears on the TV and lets us know that Gordon has been kidnapped by Officer Balls. So we need to backtrack to the asylum to find a trail to look for him. Upon our arrival, we scan some of Officer Bowles' whiskey and follow the trail of alcohol to lead to his location. While following the trail, we meet up with Harley again, who shows us just how much she wants us there by dropping an elevator onto Batman and a nearby guard. In case you thought that would stop him, you'd be wrong, as Batman climbs up the elevator shaft and proceeds to take his frustrations out on the group of idiots stationed at the top. This will happen again as the night goes on. We are then introduced to thugs with guns, who we proceed to take out silently, leading nicely into our first stealth section of the game. Despite being the first stealth section and being very easy, I somehow managed to fail a glide kick on the last thug, resulting in me falling off the roof and right in front of him, and so I get shot, leading us to our first death of the video. Next time, I decide to skip the glide kick entirely and simply jump off the gargoyle nearby and just beat the crap out of him until he goes down. Following this, we discover that Bowles is in fact dead, and before we can even think about him, Riddler gives us a call and tells us that he decided he wanted to be part of the game too. After taking time out of our busy schedule to solve his children's puzzle, we speak with Walter White and make our way through some tunnels and vents to find ourselves reaching the outside of Arkham Island. Not even 5 seconds after stepping out into the fresh air though, Batman gets a message that his Uber is currently being assaulted by the local church group. Naturally, we go to stop them and somehow don't get hit despite a very close call. After politely declining to sign their petitions, Batman opens up the trunk of his car and collects his definitely non-lethal explosive gel. We then discover Gordon's pipe on the ground and use its trail to locate him in the medical facility. Thank God he has this tobacco addiction, or else Batman would have been pretty screwed in trying to find him. Before we can enter the medical facility, however, I stumble for a second after forgetting that I don't have the special combo takedown and proceed to get punched. And then after resetting, I once again get hit after being dumb and trying to brute force my way through the fight. Finally, I manage to get through after taking my time and calmly enter the medical facility. Inside we find Harley as her and Joker argue about Batman being there. I leave and make my way to the roof using our newly acquired explosive gel to enter the facility from above. Crawling through some more vents finds Batman walking into what might just be the most iconic stealth section across all 4 of the Arkham games. We start this section off by somehow not killing this guy with an explosive powerful enough to collapse a wall onto him, then later take out a thug and not get seen by his friend, who very obviously looked up and saw me lower the body onto the floor. I, however, am not complaining and finish the section without any issues. After clearing the room, we speak with one of the doctors and learn that Joker has kidnapped 3 other doctors because of course he has, and we need to go find them. Our search starts by bringing us to the room filled with gas, where inside, Batman 100% kills this man to get access to the last pump to clear the room. For those claiming he's alive, not only did Batman cut him down, causing him to fall with enough force to destroy the concrete below on impact, but he also fell into the very lethal Joker gas before I had a chance to clear the room. This man is dead. Next question. Next, we travel to find the second doctor, where Joker's goons attempt to ambush me. Keyword here is attempt, because by this point I now actually have the special combo takedown, so this fight goes by with no issue whatsoever. I rescue the doctor from his mildly uncomfortable situation and proceed onwards to go find Dr. Young. With those men definitely dead and Dr. Young now potentially concussed, I return to the main medical room, where Young immediately starts complaining that all of her research is in the mansion. Seeing as the island by this point is just a giant torture device, I tell Cash to accompany her to the mansion to get the research, as more goons come up the elevator to provide a problem. There was in fact no problem, as I clear the room first try. With that section out of the way, Joker gets real ominous, and Batman discovers the negative effects of trained medical professionals using substances to handle the stress of Gotham's supercriminals. While walking through the tunnel, the game decides it wanted to stop working and crashes on me. This will count as a reset, since while not damaging Batman himself, it damaged my patience, as I really did not want to see where this checkpoint left me. Next time, when the game decides to work, we discover that Gordon has died, and Batman becomes the Reverse Flash to cope. Batman then finds himself in the morgue, where the voices in his head tell him to leave. Naturally, we listen and find ourselves learning the hard way why the voices aren't always right. Welcome everybody to our first Scarecrow section, which I finish in just a few minutes because it really isn't that hard. Afterwards, we discover the body wasn't Gordon's, and Batman continues to assault Gotham's hardworking henchmen. We follow Joker's trail until we come across our next stealth section, with the catch this time being that we are not allowed to be seen, or else Harley kills Gordon. Naturally, since I am very good at video games, I get seen in the dumbest way possible, resulting in a reset. My second try goes much better once I realize how Batman would have actually gone through this scenario using the path below. We once again give a villain a concussion as we deal with Harley and rescue Gordon from his capture. Gordon and I then travel to the lower level where we discover that Dr. Young has been keeping Bane locked down here and draining the venom from his body. Joker cuts him down, and it's boss fight time. The Bane fight has no real issue, as it only really serves as the actual tutorial for how to deal with Titan enemies later in the game. That being said, the fight is over in a few minutes, and Batman and Gordon meet back up on the surface, where they are then briefly inconvenienced before Batman calls in the Hot Wheels and gives Bane the same treatment as a deer on I-95. Batman then tells Gordon that he needs to leave the island and proceeds to jump off some rocks because he just can't take it anymore. Unfortunately, God has bigger plans for the Caped Crusader, and instead, the wind takes him to the Batcave where we discover Dr. Young created the Titan formula that Joker is after and collect the Batclaw. With this newfound device, Batman can once again become Ratman as he travels through the sewers to get to the next area. I did get punched on the way through by a random thug since I wasn't paying attention, but they all go down smoothly the next time. With that out of the way, we can continue onwards and...
I will find you. Rip your flesh like paper.
I appear to have gone the wrong way. Next up for Batman's Night of Wonders is the room where it is impossible to use the grapnel gun. So, Batman has to embrace his inner Mario and platform up to where he finds the exit, and we have to go find Dr. Young in the mansion. It's here where the snipers are introduced, and this first one goes down no problem, although I zone out a few seconds later and get punched in the tunnel, so karma might be real after all. Once through the tunnel, I have to easily deal with a few more snipers, and then we can make our way into Arkham Mansion. Upon entering, we see that one of the thugs has a gun and proceed to deal with him the only way we know how, politely asking him to put it down. Our journey continues as we discover a group of gentlemen who have no regard for organized files. This is arguably the biggest fight in the game by this point, but they are all still just unarmed thugs, so it's not really that difficult. That being said, I get punched after being dumb close to the end of the fight, and then after I reset, it happens again. Finally, I get through unscathed after my third try. We then stop these two fine citizens from harassing this guard, and it is here we are introduced to the collars. We are then immediately sent into a stealth room filled with guards who all have collars because why not? It's here where I adapt the strategy of taking a thug out and laying down explosive gel to mess with the guys who come to look at him. This goes poorly as I almost get seen by one thug and then another thug ends up shooting me on sight. Thankfully, I was able to get through it next time, so that's no real issue. We then talk to Cash, and Batman breaks into Dr. Young's office where we scan her fingerprints and follow the trail to the library, where I immediately get punched by a random thug. He does not get this chance again though, as next time I assault anyone who even tries to think to breathe in my direction. We then technically cheat by progressing too fast, and I save these two minimum wage employees from confetti, and then I burn the notes for the Titan formula like the responsible environmentalist I am. As we exit the library, the drugs kick in again as Batman begins to hallucinate an infinite hallway, and then right after starts imagining his dead parents again. Batman then has to face his fears as Scarecrow makes his grand return. I get spotted, punched twice, and then fall off this platform, but we got there in the end, and now we're in the clock tower. Batman realizes he's stuck up here and decides that more property damage is the only answer, as he drops a bell down the tower which you cannot tell me did not kill anyone upon landing. I forget the way to go and momentarily get lost, pause the game to use the bathroom, and then what do you know, the thugs have stun sticks now. Joker talks to us about our fever dream and then briefly mentions that Zsasz has Dr. Young. Naturally, we go save her, which ends completely okay as she collects the codes from the wardens.
Oh my god! Get out of the way!
Well, after that fiasco, Batman wakes up, beats up the guys watching him sleep, and realizes that we need to go find the warden. I am going to mention here, though, that when I opened the game again after stopping here, it made me fight the thugs again, just in case anyone noticed that the bodies were in different spots. I was simply just going to redo the fight and go from there, but while I was fighting them, and not recording, I got hit, resulting in what I am going to count as an actual reset. I just wanted to be honest about that because it would have made the challenge seem disingenuous otherwise. Back to the game, I scan the warden's blood to follow his trail, and it takes me way too long to remember how to find the Arkham City Easter egg. There wasn't any issue while I was following the trail, so we made it to the penitentiary in just a few minutes. Inside, we meet up with Poison Ivy, say hi to Clayface, and then find the warden living out a kink as he's tied to a chair. Harley lets Ivy out, and we get the cryptographic sequencer using the code from the warden. Batman leaves him behind, and we learn that the lunatics have been let loose, so we deal with them very peacefully. After leaving the room, we meet with Harley again, who jumps up on the platform above and uses advanced torture methods on this poor guard. We don't have time for that though, so we follow Harley, who sends her thugs after us. During this fight, I think I see a thug get knocked off on the first wave, and since I get distracted by it, I get punched. I end up resetting 2 more times on this fight before I was able to beat it. Harley runs away and I turn off the electric floor before it can claim any more victims. I once again get lost, and Batman briefly becomes schizophrenic as he gets caught on a door frame. On the way to Harley, we stop by Calendar Man's cell and then find ourselves in a room primed to explode.
12 seconds later.
Anyways, after that minor inconvenience, we visit Two-Face's cell and move on to the real Harley fight. I don't know why, but I reset here 5 times before I beat the fight because for whatever reason I kept zoning out and getting punched for it. After eventually dealing with that mess, Batman gives Harley another concussion and scans her fingerprints as he realizes we have to go to the gardens. We then finish this Batman villain roll call by taking a gander at Mr. Freeze's cell. On the way to the gardens, Batman is briefly inconvenienced as he is swarmed by lunatics and then proceeds to kill this one man by pulling him with the back claw off of this statue. Before we continue, I think now is a good time for a little break as I detail what the plan is for the rest of the run. By now we've gotten to a little over halfway through the game. I apologize if it feels like I'm going a mile a minute, that's just the way I wrote the script to be, and I think a lot of the jokes work better that way. This challenge so far may not seem to be that difficult, but I assure you that this will change in the second half of the video. Anyways, the plan from here is simple. We need to head to the gardens to stop Joker from creating these highly illegal and irregular Liver King steroids. Along the way, we may face many trials of unknown bullshittery and pain, but through the coming storm we will persist, all to protect this beautiful cesspool that Batman calls home. And if anyone tries to stand in our way, they will be dealt with accordingly. With the plan out of the way, this is the part where I tell you to like the video and subscribe, only if you want to though, because I'm not going to pressure you. Anyways, onward we go to the Botanical Gardens. Inside the gardens, we are faced with another stealth section. This time, however, we utilize the methods of hanging, strangling, explosives, and dropping guys on one another to pass it with ease. Afterwards, I accidentally go the right way and clear this fight in the next room with no problem. Batman opens up the locked door and continues on through, where he witnesses Joker cause more property damage and blow up a hallway. This cannot stop Batman, however, as we continue onwards and I come across another stealth section, this time like the one before where if I get seen, I'm cooked. I attempt to make this gap and end up falling to my death, and then proceed to get spotted and shot in the face by the operator. I then get spotted while dropping to the lower level and then beat the section on what is technically my 4th attempt. Using Harley's fingerprints, we locate the secret lab, and Joker injects his steroids into the 2 guys nearby. This must have been a pretty good dose though, as these 2 managed to actually put up a fight and don't look like their parents were also first cousins. I died here 7 times, mainly because I was being reckless and stupid with my evades and the way I was going about fighting the 2 of them. Even on one attempt where I beat them, I should have been hit multiple times, yet somehow get through unscathed. After dealing with those 2, Batman once again causes more property damage as he calls in the Batwing and obtains the line launcher. With this newfound gadget, we leave the room and begin the journey to find Ivy, as Batman realizes that she has what we might need to make a Titan cure. We find Ivy and politely ask her to help us in making a cure, and she tells us that she in fact does not have what we need to make the cure. Instead, we have to go rob the Crocodile Man. Naturally, we need to go talk to Cash, as he's the only one who knows where Croc resides. On the way out of the gardens, I take my frustrations out on these thugs as I send them to their deaths in the Croc-filled depths below. I then also get through another stealth section first try with the help from the Sonic Batarang. Before we can leave though, Ivy takes some of the good drugs and now there are murder plants all over the island. On the way to the mansion, I learn the struggles of mixing murderous plant spores with the lunatics as I reset 3 different times. Eventually, I make my way over to the mansion. We're in and out in just a few minutes though, after Cash tells us that Croc's lair has an entrance through the intensive treatment building. I get punched on the way there and eventually make my way inside, where we are now back in the original stealth room, only this time harder. Somehow though, I utilized the Mind Gargoyles and Sonic Batarangs as distractions to beat the encounter on my first attempt, albeit the wrong way as I somehow managed to not get shot while beating up the last 2 thugs. Now with that out of the way, we should be able to continue, but Batman gets drugged so hard it breaks the game and sends us to a parallel Earth. Turns out, it's the next Scarecrow section. I get seen trying to run for it, then get smacked by a skeleton a few moments later. Then, towards the end, Scarecrow catches a glimpse of Batman's cape and calls it a reset before I can finally get through and move on to the actual fight, which I get through with 0 issue. Scarecrow then runs away in pure terror from the walking drug immunity, and I move on through the elevator, catching some foreshadowing along the way. At the bottom, I once again get punched being stupid, then prove how terrible I am at this game by getting hit in the fight before the bottom that I cleared no problem just a few minutes ago. After finally beating both fights, Batman watches as Scarecrow gets eaten and does nothing about it since he has no time for this. Moving on, we find our way to Croc's lair, where despite playing this game countless times, I am still terrified the whole way through. That doesn't stop me though, as I get through the lair and send Croc into the depths below, with the only thing having to be reset was my pair of pants. We travel back to the Batcave, facing more gentlemen in the sewers along the way. While engineering the cure, Ivy attacks the cave and stops the progress before enough can be made. Being ever resilient though, Batman simply makes a better Batclaw and we are on our way. Making our way through the sewers, we end up watching as a Batarang proceeds to have a stroke and find out that the catacombs now have murder plants. Back in the catacombs, Batman needs to shut down the pump rooms to stop Joker's new plan of drugging all of Gotham. Despite this, we make it to the top unscathed and then proceed to kill these 3 idiots who came to investigate the wall that collapsed right in front of their eyes. We make our way further and find ourselves in another stealth room where I climb up and crawl through a hole in the wall and immediately get shot, which scares the absolute shit out of me. Next time though, I simply play smarter and use various methods to either kill or paralyze everyone in the room. After that, I travel to the pump room where I once again have another flawless fight. Batman makes his way back to the elevator shaft and I am faced with the single greatest challenge of this entire run as Joker drops a Titan down the elevator shaft. This fight genuinely made me rethink the run as a whole. I could not for the life of me figure out a way to get through it. No matter how or what I tried, it always seemed like I would either get hit by one of the thugs around me or hit by the Titan because he did not care what I did. It also didn't help that at 2 separate occasions, my controller stopped working, resulting in me getting hit for it. I then decided to take a break and leave the room, coming back after eating something and taking a minute. I died 65 times total before eventually realizing the strategy of taking out all the regular thugs before dealing with the Titan. Don't take this the wrong way though, this fight was still terrible due to me being a nervous wreck the entire final attempt. Eventually, when everything was said and done, I showed honor to the fight in the only way I knew how. One elevator climb later, and I'm back on the surface where I get jump scared by a lunatic and hit by multiple plant spores before I can make it back to the gardens. When I do get back to the gardens, I am able to reach Ivy with no other problems, as she shows me just how good Joker's drugs were by making an attempt on my life. The fight goes about how you would expect it to at my skill level. I died 4 times in the first phase before eventually moving on, but then something unthinkable happened during phase 2. During one of my attempts, after getting hit a few times, I got hit again and jerked my controller too hard in one direction. This then messed up my USB ports for a second and disabled audio for the game entirely through my wireless headphones. Realizing this, I closed the game and reopened it to see if that would fix the issue. It did, but the fight had completely restarted from the very beginning. Rather than give up or just get through phase 1 again without recording, I decided that I would simply count this as a full reset and keep on trucking. I died 4 times again in the first phase, then only 3 in the second. Finally, after 22 whole resets and restarting the fight entirely, I used my explosive weed killer and moved on to the end of the game. Before moving on though, I managed to collect enough XP to upgrade everything but my health. I then get to the visitor center with no issue and stop to beat up all the thugs at the entrance, as you do. After Joker once again causes more property damage using explosives, I move on to face the second biggest challenge of the run. This fight with the 2 Titans and other thugs was bad, but not as bad as the fight in the elevator shaft. I did die a total of 46 times though, whether it be from the other thugs hitting me when my guard was down or the Titans violating my personal space on several levels. Eventually though, I adopted the strategy of running away and charging the Titans and finished the fight. It's now time for the moment this has all been leading up to, as Joker reveals that he kidnapped Gordon again and then injects himself with the Titan serum as we go to the roof for one last brawl. This fight is really not that bad if you are competent at the game, which we all know by now I am not, so I die 18 more times during this fight, mostly from the bomb teeth and the thugs that come to face you. Though I did get hit by Joker once, we're not going to talk about that. However, since I am at least decent at this game, I finally make it through the end, and despite it seeming like I got shocked here, Batman's health did not appear on the screen, and as per one of the rules I stated at the beginning of this video, I did not take any damage. Finally, Batman runs over to violently assault the Joker, and I prove that I can in fact beat Batman Arkham Asylum without taking any damage. This run as a whole took just over 9 hours and just under 200 total resets to complete. I really hope you all enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it. And once again, if you want, feel free to like and subscribe if you wish to see more content like this in the future. I have plans to do the other Arkham games, but I'm not going to do them in a normal order. Other than that, I do have a few other games on the docket that I can try and do things and challenges like this with. Anyways, with all of that being said, thank you all for watching. I've been your host, Penguin Power, and hopefully, I'll see you next time. Take care.